Imagine you use Notion to transcribe your meetings via the AI meeting notes block. At the end of the meeting, that block automatically generates a summary of the meeting that you can review and finalize before automatically sending it via email to all participants, or maybe saving it in your database for future reference as a report. That's the automation that we are looking at in this video. Here is a sample meeting page in Notion. It is part of a meetings data source. There is an AI meeting notes block right here. This meeting is complete, so I can see the transcript, the notes. These are manually taken notes, and then the AI generated summary at the end of the meeting based on the transcript. And the summary is text, so I can edit anything as needed. In the use case that I'm showing in this video, I'm explaining how we can retrieve this meeting summary from the meeting page in Notion and then send an email to all the participants that are listed here. These are internal users, but also external contacts that I can link in here from the related contacts data source. This is just one of the use cases. Another one that might be useful is, for example, having an automation that runs weekly. It gets all the meeting summaries for that week, all the related projects for the meetings. For example, here I can link the project for this meeting, maybe also getting all the tasks and all the project updates, bundling them together and drafting a report that could be saved in Notion for you to review. So there could be a human in the loop component to it, and then sent to the client, for example, or kept internally, or it could be automated all the way through. So these are just two examples to stir your imagination and imagine what's possible with this kind of block and in general automating data. Here is the make scenario. This starts manually, triggered by a webhook, which means the user will click a button in Notion to trigger this automation that will then send the email to the participants. So in here, we get the meeting page by getting the data source item and passing the ID from the webhook in here to get the properties. And then in this use case, I check that there are contacts and participants in the meeting. Otherwise, there would be no one to send the email to, which I don't want. Then I use the Notion MCP tool, in particular the fetch page tool, to retrieve the content of that page. That's because the AI meeting notes block is not supported by the Notion API, but it is supported by the Notion MCP. So that's why I'm using this here. Because if I use the traditional Notion list page contents module, it doesn't output the AI meeting notes block. So the MCP tool outputs all the page content. I then use regex to extract only the meeting summary, not the other page content, because that's what I want to send to the participants. So this is the pattern that I use. I just extract whatever is in between the summary tags, like so. That's what it looks like in the Notion MCP tool response. And this is the input text, that is the parsed results text here, that contains all the page content, including all the tags that I can then use to match this pattern. Then there are two routes, two options. One option is that there is no AI meeting notes block on that page. Maybe a user made an error, let's say. And so in that case, I still want to continue in Notion and just update the page with a summary that says no AI summary found on this page. The email wasn't sent. That's to give some feedback to the user instead of them just clicking and then hoping for something to happen. That's why I include this here. I also include the same validation, this time a positive validation, meaning that the email was sent at the end of a successful run, which means after I send the email, then I update the status property with email send to all participants on, and then I include the current date, nicely formatted, and also the time zone here. This is for future reference and for validation for the user. The main route and the one that the automation will continue through most of the times is this one, where there is actually an AI meeting notes summary. And so when that happens, then I want to turn the AI meeting notes content summary into HTML so that I can directly paste it to the Gmail module, nicely formatting it. So this is a make AI tool module. It is ask anything. And so this uses AI to get the request and then output the result of that request, just like you would do using OpenAI, Anthropic's Claude, DeepSeek, and any other AI model. So here is the input. I select the model and then I include a prompt and the input value. Next up, I get all the contacts. So these are all the external contacts that are related to that meeting. So if you remember here, there is a relation property. So if there is one or multiple contacts, I want all of them to be included as email recipients. So that's why I retrieve them in here by using a search objects module that gets the meeting relation from the contacts data source. And so I filter for all the contacts where meetings contains the meeting ID. That's the database item from the second module right here. Now, there might be one or there might be multiple contacts. That's why after this, I use an array aggregator, because if there are multiple contacts, I want to aggregate them together and then map all their email addresses into the Gmail module. So the array aggregator here uses is the get contacts source module. It aggregates all the fields from that module, and that's it, just aggregates field. The second thing that I want to do is I want to find all the participants. These are the internal users. So in here, I can include multiple ones, one or many people. So I also want to send the email to these people. That's just my preference, okay? If you don't want to do that, then just include external contacts, for example, and you might remove these two modules. So the first thing that I do is I iterate through them, because a user property in the Notion API is an array, as you can see here, which contains one or multiple people in my case. So I want to extract all of them in here by using an iterator, and then I want to aggregate them back together, because I just want to have this whole automation output one bundle, one on each module, because I just want to send one email to everyone, not multiple separate emails. So I aggregate them together using the iterator as the source module. This is an aggregator module, and I use the iterator as the source module, and I select all the fields from that module. Next up, I set multiple variables. These are the recipients of the email. I set these variables so I can easily map them into the Gmail module afterwards. There are external recipients and internal recipients. External recipients correspond to the contacts related here that I aggregated here. So when I extract their email address, separated by commas, so I can map it in the Gmail module. To do that, I use the map function. So I map the array from the array aggregator for external people. I map the properties value, and from those, I map the email. So there are two maps, one nested within each other. And for the internal participants, I do the same, but using the second array aggregator. So that's a different data structure. That's why I map the array. In this case, I map the person key, and then I further map the email from that person key. That's because a user property in Notion has a different data structure from a database item, which is external participants in the meeting that we retrieved here. Once this is ready, I can send the email. My preference here is to send the email to just one recipient. That's the same person who sends it, and then include all the participants as BCC to the email. You can also directly send them to all of them, so they're all visible in the email, or use them as CCs using dedicated field in here. But then include the subject, mapping dynamic properties from Notion, and the body, also mapping data from Notion and the previous modules. You can see here for the BCC recipients, I merge the internal and external arrays. These are all the emails from external people and internal people that will receive the email address, and I also deduplicate them just in case there are duplicates. And this is how the automation is set up. Now, let me show you an example email, what it looks like in the end. And this is what the final output looks like. You can see there is also HTML formatting, which is possible in the Gmail module in Make. Is the subject, including the meeting name from Notion, and then dynamic data, including meeting name, date, attendees, and then the AI meeting notes summary. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. You will find the template link in the description, together with any relevant links that support this video for you to learn more about it. For now, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.